All right, AP Music Theory, our notes today are on harmonic, progression, in a minor key. The first thing that we need to know is we need to understand, just like before we add chords in, we need to really understand the scale that we're writing in. We talked a lot about scale degrees and different things like that. So today we're going to be talking about composing in a type of minor called the natural minor. Natural minor means that there's no sharps or flats that are unnatural to the key signature, right? No accidentals that are inserted in. So things like a raised seventh scale degree create something that's called the harmonic minor scale. And that's something that if you've been in choir, you've sung that harmonic minor scale several times. There's also a scale called the melodic minor, and you've sung that as well. This is just the natural minor, so it's just what is in the key signature. The way that a major key and a minor key relate is that if you go from the first scale degree of a major key, the scale degree that is scale degree 6 is the starting note for a minor scale if you are composing in that same key signature, okay? Singers, you'll know this as a La-based minor scale, right? La is the 6th note in the major scale, right? And we always sing La, Ti, Do when we sing a minor scale, okay? So just kind of a way to correlate those two things. So a minor scale has the same, scale degrees. So we start with 1, oops, not Roman numerals, sorry, keep doing that. 1, 2, remember this little caret thing on top? That is the symbol for a scale degree. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there are 7 notes, 7 different notes in a scale. We come back to 1 at the end because these 2 notes on the outside are the same. Let's say I'm composing in the key signature of C major. If I need to go down 3 notes, right, to what would be scale degree number 6, right? What letter name would I arrive on if I started on A? Or sorry, if I started on C. If we're composing in the key of C, right, and I go down 3 letters, what would that letter be? A, right. So A is the minor that correlates to the key signature of C. Right? They have the same key signature. There are no sharps or flats in A minor. All right? So we'll just start there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That would build our minor scale, and it sounds like this. Okay? The way that the steps work, this is something you'll want to write down too. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Whole, half, whole, half, whole. That's the rap that you do for minor keys. Remember whole, half, whole, half. That was our major key rhythm, right? Or pattern. For minor keys, it's whole, half, half, whole. So it's a little bit different on the accents there. Okay, so now that you understand the way that the minor scale is constructed, at least the natural minor scale, this is the A natural minor scale, just as our first example. That's going to help you understand how progressions need to work as well. Okay? So, when we wrote down Roman numerals for a minor key, right? a major key, we indicated which chords are major by using a capital Roman numeral, right? And minor with a lowercase one. Let's figure out how these chords are going to sound. If I build a chord on an A, a major or minor? Minor, right. So this is going to be a minor one Roman numeral. Okay, if you build this chord on A, if you build a triad on A, it's going to be a minor chord. 2, check this out. What is that? Diminished, yeah, it's a diminished chord. Okay, so in minor, natural minor, the 2 is a diminished chord. The 3 is a what? Major. 4 is minor. Good. Five is minor as well. 6 is major. They're kind of opposites, kind of, yeah. And then finally, we have, that's 7. Major, that's major, good. And then 1 is minor. Now, harmonic gravity is still a thing, right? 5 wants to go to 1. 7 wants to go to 1, right? But there are ways to make that tendency a little bit stronger, and that's why we would have a harmonic minor scale. When we're composing in harmonies, we want to enhance that harmonic tendency. We'll actually talk about harmonic minor and the reasons for harmonic minor progressions here after we talk about the flow chart, okay? So when we're composing, the flow chart for minor keys, let's just separate these two so you guys can see. And these are the progressions that go together, okay? We start with a 1 at the very end. Everything wants to flow to 1, okay? So think about it this way. We're actually going to be writing these in order of like the most powerful chord, okay? So the most powerful chord in a minor key, of course, is that minor 1 chord, okay? Then we have a bracket with a major 5 chord. Wait, but I thought 5 was minor. Well, we'll get to that here in just a second, okay? And then a 7 diminished chord. Wait, I thought 7 was major. Why would that? We'll get to that in a second as well. Okay, those 2 chords in this minor flow go to that 1 chord. Then we also have a level before that, the minor 4 chord and the 2 diminished chord flow to these. And by the way, these 2 chords are interchangeable. We talked about that. But the minor 4 has to flow only to the minor 2 diminished chord. Okay, that's an only one directional bracket there.
So if you have a full chord, then you have down to 2.
No, not necessarily. You could go from 4 to a major 5. You could like skip the bracket. But if you wanted to insert a 2 diminished chord in there, you couldn't go from a 2 diminished to a 4 chord. Is really what that means. It's only a one-way street in that bracket. Then we have our 6th chord, major 6. We have a major 3 chord here. And then we finished with, our major 7th chord. And by the way, these are also things that are like frequency of use ideas, right? So the least frequently used chord in a minor key is that major 7th chord. It rarely exists. Okay, now let's talk about this bracket here. We might be able to, I think we have enough time, we might be able to get into this. Why would we have things that are unnatural to the key in that bracket? Because when we're composing in harmonies, right, Roman numerals imply that there is a chord, right? Composers over time figured out that they could create more harmonic gravity by adding a sharp to the 7th scale degree. Okay, so typically our 7th scale degree is going to be raised in a minor key. So instead of playing G, we would play G sharp. And that half step replicates a T to do feel, right? So listen to how the natural minor key sounds without that sharp. Kind of just eerie, right? But it doesn't feel like if I went like this, it feels relatively stable, right? You're not thinking in your head like, oh my gosh, finish the scale. But if I include that sharp, listen to what happens. If I don't finish that scale, it's going to bother you, right? And that's what the composers figured out. That kind of a scale is no longer natural, it's harmonic. Kaden, go.
So if you add the sharp, it's harmonic?
It's not necessary. Okay, so we can just say if you add a sharp, because really what we're doing is if you raise the 7th scale degree, right? Let's say we were composing in the key of A flat harmonic minor. That means that every one of these notes would have a flat next to it. And instead of using a sharp, you would use a natural to raise it up. Does that make sense? So I get what you're saying. So ask your question one more time.
So if we raise 7,
It's going to be harmonic minor if you raise the 7th scale degree. Yes.
if you don't, it's just a natural.
Correct. Right. Natural meaning that there are no unnatural sharps or flats in the scale. Okay. Harmonic means that we've changed it to sound better and to create more harmonic gravity to make that one even more powerful, okay? Listen to what that sounds like in chord progressions. So one of the most powerful progressions is 1 to 5 to 1. Jacob, you just played a piece that was like entirely 1 5 1, right? So what I want to do is play that 1 5 1 in first a natural minor scale, and then I want to play it in a harmonic minor scale. Instead. It does, right? And
what did you play first? Because that was actually... No, you messed it up.
What's that?
When you messed up the major part.
Oh, it sounded good? Or it sounded bad? I don't know.
It
like added a second or something. It was probably something like this. Dig it. I'm videoing them. I'm still trying to teach others. Thank you, God, like your enthusiasm. Okay. So that's going to really create more harmonic motion, right? And that's what we want to create. We want to create that flow, right? So now I'm going to add a 4 in between the 1. So my progression now is going to be 1, 4, major 5, 1. Listen how that sounds. And it's like, right? But if I keep it a minor 5, like the natural scale, listen to how it sounds. Pull that this has. So right now I'm playing A minor, then I'm playing D minor to E major, and back to 1. Okay. But this can be any key, right? Okay. Good. So, virtual students, that's just an introduction to the way that minor keys flow. I hope I explained to you the natural minor scale and also why we use a harmonic minor scale when we're writing pieces more commonly, more frequently. It has everything to do with this bracket here. That 7 diminished chord and that major 5 chord, those really lead you back to 1 a lot more effectively. And I hope that you guys understand that really well now too. We're going to do a little practice on our own here in our live class, trying to discover how to find the chords that you would use in a minor key, right, based on a given key signature. And we will practice this in your live class tomorrow, Wednesday. Okay? Thanks, virtual students. See ya.